What's going on, awesome people? Good evening and welcome to another episode of Countdown to Freedom in Iran. First and foremost, if you're not familiar with Countdown is, it is the only live stream, weekly live stream that's English and that's been dedicated to what's happening in Iran. And it's crazy that this is episode 25. You know, normally when somebody creates a program, TV show, whatever it may be, you know, you kind of wish and you hope that it goes 100 episodes, 500 episodes, whatever. Like you're really just hoping and praying that the show picks up and something just becomes really amazing. Unfortunately, Countdown to Freedom in Iran never had that same ambition. If anything, it was a show that we were hoping that would only have to last a few episodes, because as the name suggests, Countdown to Freedom in Iran means at the moment that Iran is free, this show does not need to exist, you know? And so there's certain milestones that, you know, you're supposed to be excited about and happy about, and 25 episodes is unfortunately not the milestone that we were hoping for with this program. However, I'm certainly grateful and proud of the individuals that have been joining, that have been supporting, that have been producing this entire program. I know it's just Instagram Live for many of you, and you just see people coming on and coming off, but this is a legit program behind the scenes that a lot of people spend their time, their heart, individuals like Paris Mansouri truly like emotionally get involved in coming up with the news and updates. She spends her entire week digging and double checking and verifying and constantly just being around negative, sad, disheartening, upsetting, frustrating, infuriating news and updates. You know, like very rarely is there excitement or happiness in this type of news, you know, and it's just very unfortunate, you know. And so all I have to say is that I always try to look at the positive in everything. And the positive is the fact that we're still around, meaning like we're proud of the fact that at least we're doing our part. And if you keep on watching every single week, you're doing your part. If you're sharing with everybody, hey, tune into Countdown, that's you doing your part, you know. So this is a community that we've built here at Countdown, both as the producers, people that unite and conquer, and of course, everybody that, you know, tunes in. Even if you tune in for 5-10 minutes, we're grateful for you, because, you know, you are the reason why we're like, okay, we got to keep on doing this. Okay, we got to dedicate our Wednesday evenings, stay away from loved ones and family and work to do this, you know. So with this being episode 25, for me, it's just an opportunity to say thank you. And say thank you to the producers of this program that helped make this all happen, from Paris Mansouri to Sareh Kazemi to Mona Hairi to Shiva Jahani to Shiva Saber, to our contributors like Sam Rasul, like Shahla Nikpur, and Sherry Eshrari. I just want to say thank you. So thank you to everybody that's been a part of this, and thank you for those of you who constantly tune in and look forward to another episode in the hopes that, you know, somebody is still fighting for the voices of our people. And so that's us. And when I say us, it's not me, it's not just the producers, it's all of us that are part of the Countdown community. So much love to you all. Thank you all. And let's get started. So this is episode 25 in, which, by the way, if you have a guest that you want us to have as a special guest, please make recommendations. We have an incredible guest tonight. Later on at 8:40 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be joined by Darius. His Instagram is Darius LA, and he's a multi-hyphenate tech entrepreneur, author, and engineer. And at the beginning of the Woman Life Freedom Revolution, he converted his travel account on Instagram into an educational account, and he has dedicated a significant part of his time to bringing awareness to Iranians and around the world. And I can actually say that I followed him when he had like just 700-800, maybe 1,000 followers. And from the very first moment, 6-7 months ago, I really appreciated just how much time that he was putting in. It was almost like listening to a teacher, you know. So I was very appreciative of how much effort that he was putting into Iran, and you could just tell from all of his videos how much this means to him. And so I look forward to getting to know him better later on this evening, and hopefully you get to know him as well, and you get to follow him because he needs more support too, to make sure that people are hearing everything that he's creating online. So make sure you follow him when he comes. So I'm looking forward to Darius at 8:40. But let's get started with the news and updates. News and updates from the beautiful city of Montreal, up in Canada, Paris Mansouri. Good evening. I'm doing well.
How are you?
There's a little bit of a back feedback, I think. Can you bring your camera down a little bit too? Just a teeny bit. I like your are you wearing a tiara? Is that what it's called?
Bring it down.
Tel.
It's not a tiara, it's a tel. It's a double tel day. My hair was like misbehaving, so double tel to keep it down. Negin June as well. You listed off the incredible people.
Of course.
Love Negin who's watching.
Can't do it without this is what happens when you're trying to go off your head instead of looking at notes.
No, this is what happens when your producer is awful and doesn't list everyone in the show notes for you.
Negin knows how much I love and appreciate everything that she does, and so I hope that she forgives me for this one. But yeah, so Negin, Paris, in 25 weeks in a row, you've been coming in front of us and informing our viewers with a lot of news that breaks our hearts, makes us cry, sometimes makes us lose hope, but I think it's all this unfortunate journey that we're on, and hope of it reaching the conclusion that we're all envisioning. So thank you for everything you've been doing for 25 straight Wednesdays, in addition to all the other great things. Let's get started. It's 279 of this revolution. The program by our life forces of 2009. Let's get started.
Before I start, I have to say you're frozen, so I'm sorry if I'm speaking over you right now. Is it me or is it Iman who's frozen right now? I can't tell. To the viewers who are...
I see you. Can you see me?
Oh, okay. Now I see you. We're back to normal. Oh, Iman, you were frozen. Okay, good. So in case anybody missed that, he mentioned that we're on day 279 of this revolution. And we are going to highlight now a woman who lost her life in 2009 in what was the Green Movement at that point in time. Her name was Neda Agha Sultan. For anyone who's wondering, like, why do we highlight this one person? It's literally because she was shot in the chest during a protest. She was doing absolutely nothing except walking, and she became the face of that revolution. And again, President Obama was in office back then. Nothing happened. And she died in vain. She would have been 40 yesterday, and there were pictures shared on social media of her parents standing by her grave. And just in case anyone's wondering, she's 40 today, so back then she was literally 26 years old.
Unbelievable. We also want to honor the 10 Baha'i women who lost their lives at the hands of the regime in the 1980s.
Yeah, June 18th marked 40 years. The city of Shiraz became a modern day example of basically cruel methods of death under the Islamic regime and Islamic law. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but Iman is frozen again. So I don't know if when he freezes, it freezes me. So can you guys let me know if I'm still visible? Can you hear me? Okay. Now I can hear you again.
I'm not sure.
This is going to be funny if we're going to spend the 20 minutes doing... Yeah, apparently your internet is weak, Imanjun. But I'll keep going. If you guys can hear me, I'll just keep going. And if Imanjun cuts, then he'll be able to join us again. So what we're discussing is what happened in Shiraz on June 18th in the 80s, in 1983, there were 10 Baha'i women who were executed. So for anyone who's not aware, Iran is not a historically Muslim country. There was an Islamic invasion, and after that, there were systematic conversions, forced conversions, massive oppression, segregation, harassment, terrorism, all sorts of things. And since then, up until very much today, this very moment, Baha'is in Iran continue to be oppressed under the Islamic regime. The Islamic regime does not recognize Baha'ism as a religion or Baha'is as individuals who have equal rights within the society. Back in 1980, there were 10 women who were arrested. They were accused of being spies, but we all know that they were not spies. They were all women under 30. One of them was 17 years old. They were tortured. So they were arrested, they were tortured, they were denied a lawyer, and then they were given the chance to save their own lives by converting to Islam. They decided to not convert to Islam, and they were hanged one by one. And that is their story. And the saddest part, I can't, like, I was hoping to be able to get through it without crying, but the saddest part is that the last girl who was going to go up, they gave her the chance to convert one last time, and she kissed the noose, and she stepped up to it. And I can't say the rest. I'm sorry, Manjun, let's keep going.
Yeah, the Baha'i International Committee, I think they had a campaign going, Our Story is One. I shared one of the videos yesterday, and there was a music video in the 80s, Mona and the Children, an incredible video that honored her and, you know, kind of shared her story. But moving on, Paris, I know this is all hard for you to talk about. Last week we mentioned that the mayor of Tehran is in Brussels, where they were holding meetings about social inclusion. This week we got news that a Belgian minister has resigned over this controversy. What happened?
So the power of protest in this case, the backstory is Ali Reza Zakani. He's a former head of the Islamic Republic's student besieged organization. They're a paramilitary group. They're known to be, I apologize for the tears, they're known to be extremely violent. And they basically go around campuses in Iran and terrorize students in Iran and women to make sure they're observing the hijab rules. And they've been sanctioned by the EU, so it just came as a shock that the former head of that organization, who's now, we understand, he's the mayor of Tehran, but technically the group is under sanction. He shouldn't be allowed to travel, and he was. So Pascal Smet, he's a foreign affairs minister of the region of Brussels. If I'm looking to the side, that's where my notes are. So he resigned on Sunday, basically because he was criticized for the fact that these individuals came. So it was the mayor of Tehran, along with 14 other Islamic regime officials, as well as 2 Russian officials. And Belgium footed the entire bill for their trip. So Smet has acknowledged that this was a mistake, but he blamed the error on one of his workers. But then, you know, finally he's resigned as foreign minister. He gets to keep his spot as an MP in Brussels. But that's the story.
New rounds of sanctions have been announced. Which country is making a show instead of actually taking action? Well, let me see. Our neighbors to the north have not really been super helpful, but who else?
Yes, Canada and New Zealand, essentially. So Global Affairs Canada says Canada has sanctioned 7 Islamic regime judges. So for those who don't know, the IRGC, which is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, is it's basically an international terrorist organization. They run Iran. It's basically like a massive military mafia that runs the country, but also runs terrorist groups around the world. Okay, and there's tens of thousands of them and their affiliates. But Canada has managed to sanction 7 judges. So the Canadian Global Affairs says that, quote, they're notorious for issuing death sentences and harsh prison terms, and they're citing human rights violations. So the sanctions mean that these 7 people can't do business with Canada or Canadians. Their assets have been frozen and they can't come into the country. Canada has now sanctioned 163 Iranians and 192 entities. Keep in mind, there's literally tens of thousands, but we've got 163 of them on the list. By the way, the assets frozen, $78,000. We know there's hundreds of millions that are brought into Canada by these people, but they've got 78,000 of them, $78,000 in one. And then there's New Zealand, by the way. they've echoed the same feelings of Canada. They're saying that basically this is their third time that they're applying sanctions to the Islamic regime. The foreign affairs minister says that basically they're getting the message across to the Islamic regime. Their total of banned officials caps out at about 66.
Albanian police have raided the Mujahideen headquarters, Camp Ashraf in Albania. What do we know about this?
So the local media is saying that Albanian police conducted a raid yesterday, which was on Tuesday, June 20th. They say that the group is suspected of orchestrating cyber attacks against foreign institutions. And we don't have details on what those foreign institutions are, but what they are saying is that the Albanian judiciary had approved this order, essentially, for the police to go and conduct the search. They say that they seized computers, but the MEK is saying that they did more than that, that there were 1,000 police officers, that dozens were injured and one person was killed, which is not being corroborated by the Albanian police. Now, if you're wondering what the MEK is essentially a recognized terrorist group. They were recognized as a terrorist organization internationally until 2012, which is the US was the last to remove them from the international terrorist list. It was Hillary Clinton who did that, by the way. And then after that, they're essentially an opposition group to the Islamic regime, but they oppose a lot of other things, including the monarchists. Essentially, they're not nice people. They've killed Iranians, they've killed other people in order to ensure that they get to lead Iran at one point. They're now safe havening themselves in Albania, but who knows what's going to happen to them in the future. And just so you guys know, it was the UN and the US who basically corroborated this deal with Albania to get MEK settled in Albania. And MEK says that they're there for humanitarian purposes. So that's
the US doesn't surprise me. UN doesn't surprise me anymore. More bad news for the Mujahideen. France has banned their rallies. What are the details about that?
Yes. This is a Reuters exclusive. So France has banned an upcoming rally. They're calling the MEK an opposition group. They're being really polite, but we know that France has always harbored interest in things that are not super beneficial to Iran. So the French president, Emmanuel Macron, had a 90-minute call with the Islamic regime president, Ibrahim Raisi. And basically, a lot of people believe that after that conversation, Emmanuel Macron was convinced to have this rally stop. So the Mujahideen have an annual rally. There's a lot of people who turn up at it. The Paris Police Department is now saying that there is a significant security threat, so they can't let this rally happen. A lot of people are saying it's really Ibrahim Raisi kind of flexing his muscles and the West trying to ease tensions.
Speaking of the
with
West,
the
why are the US and Iran holding talks, and why does it matter?
So we've been mentioning this for weeks. Nothing has come to fruition because neither side is publicly talking about this. So the understanding is that they're trying to revive basically the 2015 nuclear agreement, which was the JCPOA. It's a joint comprehensive plan of action. Now, these talks have failed multiple times. President Trump actually completely walked away from the deal. So what they're trying to do is have a short-term deal. And the short-term deal would free US prisoners, and then in exchange, the Islamic regime would get billions and sanctions relief.
Updates about protesters and detainees?
This is a hard one. There was an execution this morning. Imanjun Heyman Mostafai, he was a Kurdish prisoner. He was arrested 12 years ago, accused of killing an IRGC official. He denied the claim, but it is believed that he confessed under torture, and he was killed this morning in Sanandaj prison. It's central prison in western Iran. Another story we need to keep talking about is Hushida Azari. He's a relative of a person who's near and dear to Unite and Conquer into this show. So Shiva, please give us an update on him. We hope he's doing okay. He'd been imprisoned. Again, we talked about Baha'is earlier in this new segment. Hushida Azari is a Baha'i, but he's an upstanding member of the community, and he's done absolutely nothing except be Baha'i. He was arrested and he had a court date, and we're waiting to see what the court date result is. So let's please keep using the hashtag Free Hushida just to make sure that his story is kept alive and out there and that he's kept safe. Oh, and another thing. Actually, you know what? Next week I'll give you guys an update because it's a long list of human rights offenses that the Islamic regime has done and that the UN has come forward with, which is enraging that the UN has this list, but nothing is being done. So tune in next week. I'll have this full list.
What are the action items this week and hashtags that we're following?
Mohammad Gobadlu is another detainee who's at risk of execution. So hashtag Mohammad Gobadlu. Every week we say hashtag IRGC terrorists. We're going to do our best to get them listed on the international terrorist list. Of course, Save Sharmad. Jamshid Sharmad is another foreign national who was brought to Iran under false pretenses and faces the death penalty. We talk about Tumaj Salehi, Saman Yassin, and obviously the mainstays, hashtag Mahsa Amini, hashtag Iran
Final
Revolution.
Message for our listeners?
Our language is called Persian. Literally, Ali Reza Akhundi, who is a politician, he calls it Farsi on his account. How is it that like our officials don't even know the name of our language? The name of our language in English is Persian. Farsi. So,
all right, thank you, Paris. As always, we're grateful for all that you do throughout the week to make this segment so valuable and informative. Shab Bekhair, Ba'omide.
Azadi, thank you for the kind words and apologies for the tears. I'm going to try to get one of these newscasts without crying.
Sorry for the disconnect. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to move the train forward. I don't want to pause. I need to go straight into welcoming Dr. Shiva Jahani, one of our uniters, one of the contributors. And today we're celebrating International Yoga Day. So we're going to talk a little bit of yoga with Shiva Jahani. How are you, Shiva John?
Doing great. How about you?
I'm doing wonderful. The way you look right now, it reminds me of the 80s music videos. You know, it's like I like the vibe. Oh, yeah. It's great.
Yes. Okay. Great.
I feel like doing aerobic right now.
Okay. Great. Okay. Happy International Yoga Day.
Yes. Happy International Yoga Day. So I found this very interesting. We're going to be talking about it today. I didn't know it was International Yoga Day. So I think most of us, we have a pretty good idea of what yoga is, but what is yoga?
Yoga is a holistic discipline that originated in ancient India. And it's kind of encompasses of physical postures and breathing techniques, meditation, and ethical principles that promote our well-being. And the yoga word itself means connection and union, and it aims unite our body, soul, and physical part of ourselves.
In what language? In Hindu?
Oh yeah, Sanskrit. This is Sanskrit. Yeah, it's in India. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I already learned something new. And then what are the different yoga styles? None of which my body is capable of doing properly.
There are numerous yoga styles, and I'm fan and I'm teaching the Hatha yoga. There are like Hatha yoga, power yoga, Vinyasa yoga, Bikram yoga, Ashtanga yoga, and they all are focusing on different things. And for example, what I do teach is Hatha yoga is kind of gentle and foundational of postures and breath control. So that's for the people like me who wanna maximize their benefits of their meditation. So I always do Hatha yoga and then I do meditation. So it's a kind of like you have to know about them, what style and and what they're focusing and what are they emphasizing. Then you can just choose what style works for you.
Who would you say yoga is for?
For everyone. For every age and every body types and everybody, kind of like a physical condition. But as I say, you all, and also for people who are really interested in improving their mental well-being, and it's so important because it's helping us to change our view to the life, and also it's a kind of I think I always say to my students that yoga is not exercise, it's a lifestyle, because you start to see everything differently, like from different lenses, like from like acceptance, you accept everything and you adapt fast, and you also, increasing or boosting your energy and your love, your peace, and people can see it, and then you are just, helping yourself and helping others. And
What,
I would recommend for everybody.
what about those who say yoga and the mantras, like saying are a religious practice and don't want to practice because of that? What do you say to people who say that?
Oh, I say to that, because it's not religious. Yes, it is originated from India. Yes, we do have like a God poses. We do have exactly like their, God, but it's not really, is about religious, because I think there are many studies, scientifically, there has been shown and proved that yoga has immediate and long-term effect on our body, on our, our mental, and psychological effect, physical effect, and also kind of like a mental health, that's all about yoga, because it's not about one aspect of that. It's just changing all aspects of our life. And I would recommend everybody reserve 10 to 15 minutes every day to just practice yoga. And it's very simple poses, and it's all, what is yoga is all about, make you feel good. That's it. I can say it's very simple, make you feel good, and then that I say for everyone, because if you want to, feel good, so just do it.
Last question for you is, what is the best way to figure out the best type of yoga for each of us individually? Is it possible to do so without trying all the different kinds?
I would recommend first know yourself. We have to have our goals, our preferences, and also kind of consider our physical condition. Then, as I say, check what type of a style. For example, if you want to increase increase your focus, increase your energy, you go to like a power yoga and something like, they increase your energy and focus and boosting them. But if you want to just, releasing your stress, anxiety, and you have some kind of suffering from depression, I would recommend go to Nidra yoga, Hatha yoga. And, that's what I'm saying about, check your physical condition, check your goals, check your preferences, and also seeing, your desire, and then check like what type of this, like as I said, Nidra yoga is like a sleep yoga. It's equal with 3 hours sleep. That works. Yes, if you're really tired and frustrated and stressing out, I would recommend Nidra yoga.
So
If you
that sounds like me every single morning, actually.
okay, then I will send the video.
Tired, stressed, and what?
Stress and less sleep. If you cannot sleep, because it improve your sleep, it's just reduce your stress and anxiety, and also kind of helping you with your mood, and that's have a lot of benefits. But I'm saying it's about that part of like a mental well-being. So that's what I would recommend Nidra yoga. But about like the people want to have peace and more kind of also energy and do some kind of meditation, I would recommend Hatha yoga. Hatha yoga is a combination of posture and breath. So that would help for people like me. Then I really like always have peace and happiness and different kind of a style for their life. So that help you slowly change and adopt different things. So I would recommend Hatha yoga. But other yoga like a Vinyasa yoga is a flow yoga for people really want to have some kind of energy and starting with boosting their energy. I would recommend Vinyasa yoga. But back to your preferences and the physical conditions.
Awesome. Well, I do know that as somebody who's seen you now for about a year, I've seen nothing but love, positive energy, calmness. And so I just based on knowing you, yoga, I'm going to have to figure out how to get it more into my life. I always talk about it. I don't do it enough. I do start stretching now. That's already a big start. So next is meditation.
Good. Reserve 10 minutes. Only 10 minutes. And start with a small stretch and you just feel good. That's what I'm recommending people start with small, then increase their time, and based on your right time, you're just increasing slowly. Just start.
Thank Thank you so much,
Of
Shiva. I
course. Thank you
appreciate you
for
joining
having
for
me.
this mindful moment. Shabbat khair,
Appreciate it.
bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, so that was Shiva Jahani giving us the latest mindful moment. As you guys know, the way the countdown works, we do news and updates. We try to have either mental health moment, a mindful moment. We always have a uniter segment, and now it's time for a uniter segment. And 8:40 Eastern, about 10 minutes, Darius is going to be our guest. I see he's already in the chat here, and I can't wait to see him about 10 minutes as we get to chit chat. But first, it's Sareh Kazemi giving us the latest and the greatest in the world of Unite and Conquer. And there's a lot going on in the world of Unite and Conquer. Hi, Sareh.
Hi, Mojan.
How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. Are my eyes open?
Yeah, I know you wake up super early every day, and so thank you for staying up. I hope you had your little power nap earlier to get you through this 10-minute segment.
I did it actually. So I was gonna say, looking at Shiva made you want to do an 80s dance. Looking at me, does it make you want to like shower, brush your hair, take a nap? I'm dead. I don't know how you do this, Iman.
Oh man, yeah, it's been a lot that we've been doing. We're all busy. We're all putting so much effort into a little event that we have coming up. So for those who might not know about it, what is that little event?
Yeah, so we have the Azadi Festival coming up on July 3rd at Ship Garden. It's a venue in Tyson's Corner, Virginia, in the DC area. It's going to be 12 hours of both in-person and virtual live stream programming that's going to showcase, essentially to summarize, the best of our culture, the best of everything Iranian. We're going to bring through artists, performances, activists, poetry, food that's going to be nostalgic for anyone that has not been in Iran or not been able to absorb our Iranian culture to the extent that they'd like to. And these activities are going to be taking place, like I said, for 12 hours. And there will be activities for all ages. I neglected to say that there's going to be a kids corner where there will be activities for children. There'll be actually a dog park on site, so you can bring your dogs with you. And it's a family event that we'll have all day. You can pop in and pop out. All of the information on the Azadi Festival is available in both of our links in bios. And you can get more information as well as the link to purchase your tickets to be there. So please do check that out. If anyone has any questions in the chat, please feel free. I see Mona has put the link to Azadi Festival directly there. And so let me pause. Imogen, is there anything else you wanted to say about it?
No, I feel like you've done a great job. This is amazing. I feel like you covered everything from kids to dogs to, oh, we got a Sonati room.
Yeah, I don't want to give away the surprises, but I love so much of what I'm hearing, and that's kind of what I wanted to say, is that we're actually now, Iman, don't stress, but within 2 weeks of Azadi Festival, although I know you're probably counting down every day, you're like marking down a day, but yeah, I mean, it's super exciting. Iman and I were on a live yesterday, and when he first presented the idea, I was just like, huh, you want to do what? How? Are you sure about the how? As I usually do. But Iman had the vision right away, and the team was all in for it. And here we are, literally making it happen. There is a chat of 35 to 40 ambassadors alone. That doesn't include individual performers or allies or sponsors or contributors or just vendors that are literally harnessing the energy that we want to create to achieve a free Iran, right? Iman, like, we want freedom in Iran, and what we need to do that is through unity. And this, even through the preparations alone, is starting that process.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the way that I see the festival is like a mini Iran. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm kind of seeing. It's like I'm seeing like a true community of people coming together and hustling and bustling, going to a bazaar, having some food, having some drink. And I'm not going to give the menu away yet, but there will be Persian-inspired drinks, Persian-inspired, like, different types of appetizers, finger foods. The music is, of course, going to be 100% Iranian, from traditional to different parts of Iran. The dances are going to be from different parts of Iran. The musical performances are going to be wide ranging. We're going to have everything from rappers to sonati. I mean, you're really getting the best of Iran, or at least the best of Iranian and best of Iranian culture. Unfortunately, we can't have the best of actual Iran, but it is all of us. It's very representative of all of us.
Yeah.
All of us have a different talent. All of us have a different skill set. All of us have a different type of product that we create, that we're selling, whether it's art or whether it's a book or it's whatever it is. It's really a day that I hope that we can all enjoy and be proud of.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. I was actually going to say the same thing. I mean, a lot of people are seeing the flyers, seeing the promotional material that we've been putting out there, but what they don't see is all the work that's happening in the background. And yes, it's a lot of work. Yes, it's a lot of hours, but that's not really the point. The point is there's so many people who care so much about making this a success. And we're all strangers. Like there's only a handful of us that have probably met in person, but somehow we've been able to pull together a group of people who believe in the mission of Azadi Festival. And it's so beautiful to see. And many of them are on the line right now. And I really do look forward to meeting as many of them as I can in person in July.
And what I love is the fact, have you noticed, Sareh, how because you were a part of it from the very beginning, and everyone that joins the group as an ambassador, it's so seamless, I almost there is not this moment where some people, they feel like they're left out. Everybody is being welcomed. Everybody immediately is moved into a sub chat. It's pretty cool. And so I want to give this opportunity to let you all know, if you're watching right now or if you're on YouTube, we are definitely in search of and in need of more ambassadors and more allies. An ambassador is basically, you become one of the organizers. You are intricately involved in the planning, the strategizing, the opinionating of what we should do, what we shouldn't do, how we can make it better. Azadi Festival is going to be the end result of amazing individuals that are freedom lovers, that are Iran lovers, that are all giving their input and together putting on a great program for the local community in DC, for those who come in person, and like Sareh mentioned, online as well. So if you want to be involved in this, click the link in the bio, become an ambassador, or if you don't have time to be fully involved, but you want to help spread the word and promote this event and put your stamp of approval, then you can become an ally, or you can become a vendor, or you can become a sponsor, or you just go buy a ticket and just come with your entire family. Tell every single family member that this is something that we should all go to enjoy and to support.
Absolutely. I know I'm looking forward to it, and taking my whole family, we're all really looking forward to it. My little girl's excited to see it. I'm so excited to share a piece of Iran with her. She's not been there, but I'm so looking forward to kind of giving her exposures to so much of this.
I'm waiting for Sabo's TikTok video, so whenever she's ready to release that video, Isabella needs more people.
Can we do it on Instagram? Mommy doesn't have a TikTok account. I don't think I can. I can't handle this.
It's time. Andia can help you set it up. I actually want to have a under 18 group of Iranians that are making videos about Azadi Festival. So Isabella started it. She's a trailblazer, and now we need more people, teenagers, children, to get involved. And when the children get excited about something, the parents are forced to come, so you need people like Isabella and Sabo to explain why they're looking forward to it. When you watch Isabella's video, she's genuinely excited. Unfortunately, she can't make it because she's going to be out of the country, but you could tell her excitement, and they're going to be able to enjoy it from afar.
Yeah, I can definitely probably pull Saba together for her to talk about why she's excited. Whether it goes on TikTok or Instagram, we'll have to talk about that. But
I understand. There's a parenting element that I have to keep in mind. Of course. All right. Well, did we cover everything else? Is that all we have to talk about?
Everything. Yeah. I mean, our main focus is Azadi Festival right now. Obviously, the Too Much video is still posted. We still continue to focus on Too Much and so many of the others that, Paris mentioned as well. But we're going to continue to do our best to keep this conversation going through Countdown, through Azadi Festival. And once Azadi is finished, we're going to move on to the next order of events and see what we need to do to continue this conversation until we have a free Iran. But we're not stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, and speaking of too much, and by the way, Darius, if you're seeing this message, go ahead and press a request to join the bottom, the camera with the plus sign, and as soon as you come into the waiting room, I'll bring you in. But speaking of too much, if you all haven't seen it, Unite and Conquer, we recreated the Too Much Salehi Surah Mush music video, and there's a part that Sareh is in, 2 parts actually, where she kills the rappers. You have to watch it. There's a part where she goes like this, you know, it's as hardcore as one could imagine, you know. And so I recommend you guys. It's pinned on my Instagram. It's pinned on the Unite and Conquer Instagram. It's on our YouTube channel. Go watch it. Go share it. It has over 240 or 50,000 views. So go enjoy it. Well, go enjoy it in a sense that bring awareness to Too Much. Hashtag Too Much. All right, Sarah, our special guest, Darius, is in the waiting room. Thank you very much. All right, so we see that Darius is in the waiting room. And so just for those of you who missed the bio that I said earlier, as I bring him on real quick, Darius is from LA. He's a tech entrepreneur, best-selling author, inventor, engineer, business coach, speaker, hiker, Harley rider, ex-soccer player, globetrotter, Khayyam fan, wine lover, and father of 2 adults who became successful on their own in their 20s. And when you get to know Darius, you'll know why his products, his children, ended up being successful in their 20s. Born in Tehran, he went on to International Catholic School in Tehran with a secular education. Secular, guys, that's what we're fighting for. And graduated from high school, ranked first in the city of Tehran after the 1979 revolution and before moving to France. And after graduating from a top French engineering school, within a few years, he climbed the corporate ladder to become CEO in his 20s. During his career, he founded 5 tech startups in France and in the US. 2 of them failed, 2 of them he sold, and currently he runs the last one. I like how you actually mentioned in the bio that 2 of them failed. That's humility. That's why I like this man. As a business coach, he has trained tens of thousands of executives at Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Oracle, Salesforce, and hundreds of other big or small tech companies. And basically, I was telling earlier that at the beginning of the revolution, I came across his page, I think it was October or something. He converted his travel account on Instagram into an educational account where he has dedicated a significant part of his time to bring awareness to Iranians with no other end goal other than the freedom of Iranians and for a better future for the Iranian kids. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinguished pleasure to bring on the man, the legend, a gentleman that I've been looking forward to meeting, and now I get to have that moment. Durud.
Hey,
How are
hi, Iman Jan.
How are you, Darius?
Do you hear me well? Everything is fine technically?
Hear you well. The background's great. The Rish is on fire. It's great, you know?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I wish that we had a chance to connect like this in many months ago. So this is the first time that we're meeting too, and I'm very excited to have this opportunity to get to know you and show you off to other people in our community.
Same here. And I was listening to the bio of the guy you invited. I don't know whose bio was that.
Some successful
Thank
guy.
you. Thank you.
Speaking of the bio, you have quite a resume. We talked about it a little bit. What are you most proud of as far as your professional journey before we get into the stuff about Iran? You know, like you've done a lot so far.
Professional, I can talk about professional, but if I drop the professional, is raising my daughter on my own as a teenager, as a single dad, when we moved from France to the US. That's the thing which has been the hardest thing in my life, much harder than succeeding a startup, much harder than hiring the most talented people in the world, much hiring than raising millions of dollars from venture capital. but that one was the most challenging.
That's
and given her character, the independent Persian woman that we are seeing in the streets now, but we all have some sort of one of those at home as a sister or mother or daughter or wife. So that was it.
just hearing you talk about your daughter, which it's tongue in cheek, you know, you're being facetious about it, but really at the core, it's the love and the pride that you have for your daughter and raising her. Now I can tell one of the main reasons why you've been fighting this fight, because it's because of people like your own daughter, and it's because of the Masajina Aminis and the rest of the women that this entire revolution is being led by. What made you first and foremost become such a student of history? Because as I followed all your content in the last 6, 7, 8 months since I've started following you, it's like so much knowledge. You remind me of like Paris, who, you know, every time that we talk, she just flows with all this knowledge about Iran. Were you always a history buff? Like if I met 16-year-old Darius, are you the guy who's excelling in history, or did that happen later on after the revolution?
I have a lot of interest, Iman Jan. I'm interested in a lot of things, from you know, poets, literature, math. It would surprise you. You know, I used to read math books as a hobby.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have a lot of interest, and history is one of them. The reason, obviously, I'm talking about history a lot on my page is because of the lessons that we can learn from history and what was all about. You know, the symbol of why people are looking back nowadays, why they are interested. You know, what's going on right now is like, I mean, we in the West, we are familiar with the Gen Z, Generation Z, and we know, and studies show how they are different. You know, they have some characteristics like having challenges with accepting the authority, and for instance, we know HR managers in the corporate America know that the average has dropped, the average of turnover, that the average of staying in a job has dropped from 3 years to 1 year with Gen Z, and a few other things which are different. And the entrepreneurship, 40% of the Gen Z say that they want to become entrepreneurs. Just to put in perspective, the US, which is the most entrepreneurial country in the world by far, the percentage of self-employed is about 10%. A country like France is about 3%. So being an entrepreneur is not for everyone. You are an entrepreneur, you know what I'm talking about. Gen Z, they say 40% of them, they want to become entrepreneurs. So these are all a series of characteristics that we see globally, and we also see in Iran. Now, in Iran, there's something additional, and that is due to the internet that we don't say it. It's so obvious, we don't mention it. Internet is number one thing we should be thankful to as we have this Mahsa revolution. Internet opened up the Gen Z, the Iranian Gen Z eyes. And if you look at our martyrs, our Javid Nam, Ruhi, the Hadith, Najafi, their Instagram profile is really like anyone in the West. There is no difference. They're interested in being happy, music, fashion, you know, expressing their identity, themselves. So this generation is like orphan kids who have grown up, and now at age 18 or 20, they are wondering, who are my parents? Where are my roots? Where do we belong to? Where do we come from? Why are we different? Why am I not seeing in the streets of Tehran the same thing that I'm seeing on Instagram? So these questions that they ask themselves, and they are going to ask more and more, is the reason behind this revolution. And that's exactly the reason nothing's going to stop it. It's like the rain drops in a valley, and they all come together to the bottom of this valley, and it's flooding. Now, if there is a leadership, whenever there is a leadership, and we have had challenges there, the stream takes over and gets down to the valley. But when there is not, we shouldn't worry. Even if it blocks for a while, it will overflow, and this flood will end up taking us to the ocean.
I love the fact that you're so very poetic, by the way. So you're definitely into poetry. But I love how you're very optimistic about it. This is great because you've experienced a lot of Iran's history, including the 1979 revolution. So I'd love for you to kind of, who's had a first-hand take on it, what are the similarities or differences between the 79 revolution and the Woman Life Freedom Revolution?
Well, the big difference. One of the things is that, and you know, I'm very direct in my way of speaking and sharing things. So one of the things that happened worldwide is that the price of blood has gone up. In other words, it was less important 40 years ago, 50 years ago, generally speaking, if someone was killed, lost their lives, than now. Nowadays, if just one person, I don't know if you're watching the news about this submarine going down, there is a group which is, and the whole world is trying to break everything to go and save them, and correctly. So just to give a comparison, the biggest event, the saddest event of the 79 movement was 17 Shahrivar, 17th of Shahrivar, which is, I guess, about 7th of September 1978. That was the toughest violence that we had, where the military had shootings to the protesters, and it was the first and honestly probably the last one. The whole revolution of 79 happened with that, and if we put that in perspective in terms of numbers, there are disputed numbers, but more or less everyone agrees it was somewhere between 100 and 140 people killed on 17th of Shahrivar 1978. In this revolution, 40 years later, even when lives matter much more, we have already lost probably 800 of our youngest, best people, and we are not yet there. This difference, of course, it means a lot of things. It means that how the Shah was soft with dealing with the revolution. Some even criticized, why did he leave? So that's one comparison. And by the way, I have a lot of memories. One day maybe I should sit down and do it, I don't know, in a video or not. But that 17 Shahrivar, for instance, to give you a sense of what was happening in a lot of middle class families in Tehran. It was a Friday. It was a Friday, meaning a Sunday, a holiday, and we were at the garden in a. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
good.
I have my Instagram limit saying you're doing too much Instagram, so it got me out.
No, but you're good. You were in the garden. You were remembering that Friday afternoon.
Yeah, and then and as you can imagine, within families there were discord. My dad was a pro-Shah, and other family members were pro the revolution, and the question was, and I remember that I was 15, 16 years old, and I got involved. I shouldn't, but I did. Khayyam بقرمه سبزی میداد, as you say in Persian. So I got involved in the adults conversation, And the point was, okay, you have criticism to the Shah regime and everything, but what's next? What's the plan? Who is coming? What is it? And their response was, let's get rid of the Shah, then we'll do that together. And that let's be united. Don't talk about that because it will create inferno or whatever. And so we will talk about. And that was one of the reasons why I'm so cautious about the way we get united. And I'm insisting on defining our values, mentioning our principles, you know, whether, and we are seeing after a few months that those principles are different from some of us. You see, both of us, we have this flag, and we are patriots. We love Iran. We can't imagine Iran being divided or the language being discussed or disputed or anything like that. And some others, and respecting everyone's opinion, believe in what they call humanity. So the soil doesn't matter, our nation doesn't matter. If some people want to be independent, be it. So and I mean, everyone has an opinion, but this will make a huge difference between how we want to run it. So I don't want to take too much of your time here.
That was a great perspective. I appreciate that. So what do you believe are some of the challenges that we're facing with this revolution right now?
Yeah, that's I think one of them, I mentioned it. I think we have yet, even now, have not yet articulated our principles. What are the principles? Even that revolution, or fitne 57 or whatever it was, I don't like calling it a revolution, but I want to be factual as well. They were clear on what they wanted. Istiqlal, Azadi, Jumhuriya Islami, it was in it. And those who wrongly followed without believing in the Islamic part of it, well, bad for them. But they did it. They knew it. They can't say we were tricked. Some say we were tricked. No, it was very clear. Istiqlal, Azadi, Jumhuriya, that was the slogan. Our slogan, Zan Zendegi Azadi, is not is a great concept. There is no doubt about it. There is no doubt about the role of women in this revolution, but we need to be very cautious about that, because the regime, if you're watching closely, the Islah Talaba, the reformators, are trying to keep the regime while making reforms. And in those reforms, they are trying to get approval of the freedom of hijab for women. So the danger of going with Zan Zendegi Azadi and the freedom of women as a women movement is that they will be given this and then, okay, done. What do you want next? It's not over. So I think this is still the biggest challenge that we have, is that we have not articulated these 3-4 principles. Shahzad Reza Pahlavi did this back in September-November timeframe, but then because of that group and Mansour and everything which happened later, he softened his position so that he could bring in these other guys, and we noticed that it actually didn't work, and it was probably not a good strategy. So we need to back up and clearly, strongly mention those. And I find with Zan Zendegi Azadi, as long as we add Mad Mihan Abadi, no, I'm as long as we consider this as a symbol, we don't strongly believe that the only problem is the women. Women is one of the key problems, but it's not.
It's not the end all be all, but it's definitely a component of it. So I'm very curious, when everything happened in September and October, and it was such a global movement, for a couple of months. At that time, did you think that the regime was going to be overthrown like in the next couple of months, or did you know that yes, it's hot right now, but it's going to take a long time? This is not going to be a regime that's going to be overthrown quickly, And a second part to that question is, we're now 10 months in. Are we still on course? What do you think is going to happen?
First of all, to answer your last question, I strongly believe that it's going to happen. And you know, the flood and the water and the rain and the generation who is seeking their identity, their roots, all that means that it's going to happen. But back then, if you look at my posts on Instagram, I always said it can take a few weeks as it can take a few years. There is no way we can predict what's happening. And by the way, in '79, another memory is that the way it happened, I mean, the last thing was that revolutionaries or people attacked a Air Force base somewhere in East Tehran and took arms out of that inventory place or whatever, storage place or whatever it was. So they become armed, and that triggered the fall down of the regime. Even though there were, I mean, the army has already yielded, there a lot of things had happened. But so this type of events can happen anytime. This type of situations can happen anytime. As you can see, as we see videos coming in, just we wake up one day and there is something big happening, and then for a week there is nothing important happening. So I can't tell how long it will, but the movement is not stoppable because of the demography, because of the cultural shift which has happened, and this their leadership is, I mean, they are old. Their replacement is not legitimate. We like them or not, the two leaders of the Islamic Republic have been, in their logic, legitimately fighters. They were in jail during the Shah. They had legitimacy. No one at age of living in a decent age for leadership can take over with the same legitimacy. And as we know, the number one problem with the Islamic Republic is actually that leadership, because if it was just a republic and the president of the republic had the full power with the parliament, like in many other republics, the situation would have not been this bad. That the Islamic part of it would have been bad. It wouldn't be secular, probably not much democratic, but it wouldn't be this level of dictatorship. So these are all reasons which make this not sustainable. But saying when, I can't.
But the end is near. I like it. I like your optimism. You're giving me a lot of hope. I've kept you longer than what I had promised, but I do want to end with you answering this one question. When Iran is free, whenever it will be, what is the first thing that you look forward to doing when going to a free Iran?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Going back to the places where of my childhood, my school, the place in the mountains where I was going hiking. There's so many places I want to see. There are also personalities. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Shah. So I hope we'll be able to bring back some sort of symbol of his presence to the country. A lot of things to do there.
Well, Darius, I look forward to going. I'm not a big hiker, but I feel like you'd be a cool person to go on a hike with while we're going around the mountains of Iran, Damavand. I would love for you to give me a tour of that place and drop some historical knowledge, and we'd celebrate a free Iran together, you know. And I'm honored to have had this opportunity to chat with you and take an opportunity and thank you for all that you've been doing with educating, enlightening, and now inspiring hope that this fight is going to lead to a free Iran very soon.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for everything you are doing. You are amazing, Iman. I really love what you're doing. Thank you for all that. And see you
Thank
soon.
you. به امید آزادی. شب بخیر.
امید آزادی. پاینده ایران.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Darius. Make sure you follow him, Darius LA on Instagram. He's got a lot of great content, and it gets better and better as time goes by. I can see his videos are improving. He puts a lot of effort and time into it. Behind these kind of individuals, we need to continue to flood their pages, show them love, support them, make sure that everybody else knows what they're doing, because they play a very important role in this revolution. And we need more individuals like Darius, and I hope that it was informative, enlightening, and I don't know about you guys, but I feel a lot more optimistic. I started off this episode being so disappointed that we're 25 episodes in, and we don't want to be celebrating 25 episodes. We wish that Iran was free, but people like Darius just they reignited a nice fire that I needed. So thank you so much to Darius. Thank you so much for Shiva Jahani for joining. Sareh Jun, thank you so much for United's update. Paris Jun, as always, that's a shoma dad nakone. And to everybody else that tuned in tonight, appreciate you. If you have any recommendations for who we should have next, let me know. But next Wednesday, June 28th, Matthew Nuriel is going to be our guest for episode 26. This video is going to be uploaded on the Unite and Conquer YouTube channel. Make sure that you punch that subscribe button as if it's Khamenei's face. And like button and comment and share. And July 3rd, Azadi Festival, DC area. Khahish mikonam. Help us spread the word about Azadi Festival. Click the link in the bio. Go buy a ticket. Go send it to your friends in DC area. Know that no matter where you are in the world, you get to enjoy Azadi Festival via the live stream. So help us make this an incredible program. Help this be a very unifying moment for Iranians. Help if you can. We need as much support as we can on our social media. We need support on promotion. We need support on planning. Become an ambassador. Become an ally. Become a sponsor. Please, it needs financial support. We should be having a big budget to put on the biggest show possible. Please get your wealthy Iranian friends to come and back this thing up. Unite and Conquer now has enough of a track record to hopefully have your trust that this is going to be a program that's worth supporting. I know that Iranians have been screwed over many times, but we have 70 to 80 ambassadors, allies, performers, sponsors that are giving so much of their time. And so we need the rest of the community to do their part as well, and that is purchase tickets and spread the word. Thank you so much. Shabbat Mecher. Ba umid azadi.